The Green Bay Packers dominated the Dallas Cowboys in their playoff matchup on Sunday, and they might have the brightest future of any team in the NFL. Welcome in. I'm Jesse McNamara, and welcome to Point of View. Before we get into it today, I just want to say we always appreciate your feedback and look forward to reading your comments like the one we've got here. Also, be sure to stay tuned to the end of this episode to see if you can guess today's trivia question down below. On to today's topic. Will the Packers be Super Bowl contenders for another 15 years? If they play like they did to close out the season, the answer is a resounding yes. Green Bay entered the year with the youngest roster in the league with an average age of just 24 years old. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year after Aaron Rodgers retreated to New York and left the Packers in the dark with an inexperienced roster and questions at all positions. Could Jordan Love fill the shoes of a Hall of Fame QB? Are any of the Packers' young receivers even cut out for the NFL? And why in the world is Joe Barry still the defensive coordinator? Expectations were low. Fans just wanted to see what they had and what they needed to improve on in the offseason. After starting the season 3-6 and well outside of the playoff picture, it looked like general manager Brian Gutekunst would be looking for a new QB and a ton of other pieces. Then it all flipped. The green and gold offense stopped dropping balls and started making big-time plays. Guys who most people haven't even heard of stepped up. Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks, Malik Heath, heck, even Bo Melton, who was a 7th-round pick last year, had some moments. And that Thanksgiving game in Detroit was the official turning point. With the eyes of the entire nation on the Packers and Lions, Jordan Love and the offense torched Detroit en route to a 29-22 victory, though it really wasn't all that close. Here's what head coach Matt LaFleur had to say about the team's improvement after that win.
Yeah, I think we're definitely operating at a much higher level. Jordan's doing a really nice job. I think the guys around him are helping that situation as well. Certainly the guys up front are doing a really good job in pass protection. And then, when you have Christian Watson out there going up for balls and making plays on the ball, and, guys like Malik Heath making some contested catches, it's going to help your quarterback function at a higher level. And I just think the mindset's a little bit different. I think we as coaches have a much better idea of what these guys are capable of doing and trying to really put them in position for success, but ultimately they have to go out there and execute, and that's what our guys have been doing.
While the offense had turned the page, the defense remained a disaster in December. Rookie QB Tommy DeVito and the New York Giants took it to Joe Barry's defense and completed 17 of their 21 passing attempts while rushing for over 200 yards. The next week, Baker Mayfield hung 34 points on the board while throwing for nearly 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. And finally, in Week 16, Bryce Young put up 30 points in his best game of the season after looking like the worst QB in the league all year. The chants of "Fire Joe Barry" were loud, and his release seemed inevitable. Then, by some miracle, the defense made a noticeable change in Minnesota in Week 17. The secondary no longer played 15 yards off the line of scrimmage, and playmakers were free to make plays rather than just sit in the zone. Joe Barry's defense gave the Packers a resounding victory over the Vikings that day. Here's what LaFleur had to say after that game.
I thought our defense came ready to play. I think you got to give hats off to Joe Barry and our defensive staff for coming up with a great game plan, and I know he's taken a lot of heat lately, and it's one game, but I was happy for him, our staff, our players to go out there and put on a performance against, I think, a really good offense. So, I was just really, really proud of those guys.
While it was just one game at the time, it's now been strung out into 3. The defense allowed just 3 field goals in the playoff-clinching game to end the season against the rival Bears, who, by the way, considered it their Super Bowl. Then, of course, the playoff win over the Cowboys, where the offense and defense both played out of their minds. The D forced 2 turnovers and brought back a pick for a score, while Jordan Love looked like prime Aaron Rodgers. Even Chad Ochocinco saw what Packers fans saw. Love was morphing into 12 right before our eyes. Mr. 8-5, you're onto something with that. Now, the Packers' upcoming game against the vaunted San Francisco 49ers will likely be their last. There's no question that something special is building in Green Bay. They have their quarterback. That's not a question anymore. Their wide receiver and tight end rooms were filled with first and second year players who have gained valuable experience and showed they belong in the league. And Joe Barry, he's proven he still knows how to coach a defense, even if I still have some questions. So do the Packers have the brightest future in the NFL? I don't see how they don't. One team whose future is much more uncertain is the Minnesota Vikings. Be sure to check out our recent point of view to hear more on them. And the moment you've all been waiting for, here's the answer to today's trivia question. We appreciate you tuning into this episode of Point of View, and we will see you in the next one.